Have you ever sold something, shipped it off, and then just waited for a payment that never shows up? Ah, it is the worst feeling, right? So frustrating. Well, today we are going to build the legal toolkit you need to take back control. We're diving deep into the rights of the unpaid seller.
I mean, this is the classic nightmare scenario, isn't it? You've done your part, the product is on its way, but all you're getting is radio silence on that invoice. It can make you feel like your hands are tied, but here's the thing, they're not. The law actually gives you a surprisingly powerful set of tools for this exact situation.
And the key to unlocking all these tools is getting to know a very specific legal term: unpaid seller. Now, this isn't a label of weakness. It's the total opposite. It's a status that flips the script. It takes you from being a victim to being someone with a clear, powerful set of rights. This is where you start to take back the power. All right, so first things first, let's break down what it actually means to be an unpaid seller. When do you officially get to claim this title? And more importantly, what powers does it give you? The definition here is actually refreshingly simple. You officially get this title in two main scenarios. First, if the full price hasn't been paid. And yet, even if they've only paid you in part, you still qualify. And second, if you accepted something like a check and it bounces. That's it. That immediately puts you into this powerful legal category. So once you have that unpaid seller status, you basically unlock this legal toolkit that has two totally distinct strategies. Think of it like having two different game plans you can run. The first one is all about the goods themselves, while the second is about taking action directly against the buyer.
So let's jump into strategy one, which is all about your rights over the physical product. This is your immediate and often your most powerful line of defense.
The very first tool in this part of the kit is the right of lien. To put it simply, it's your power to hold on to the goods until you get paid. If that product is still in your possession, you are legally allowed to keep it until the buyer makes things right. Okay, but you can't just do this whenever you want, right? There are specific triggers. You can legally use this lien if the sale was supposed to be for immediate payment, or if an agreed-upon credit period is now over, or, and this one is a really big deal, if the buyer becomes insolvent. Any one of those conditions gives you the green light to hold on to those goods.
But what happens if the goods have already left your warehouse? Well, that's where your next tool comes in handy, the right of stoppage in transit. And trust me, this is an incredibly powerful right. It literally allows you to call up the shipping company and legally tell them to stop the delivery and send the goods back to you. You're basically hitting the emergency brake before the product gets into the wrong hands. Now, a few crucial things have to be true for this to work. First, obviously, you have to be an unpaid seller. Second, the goods have to be physically in transit. So they've left you, but they haven't reached the buyer yet. But the most critical trigger here, the absolute key, is that the buyer has become insolvent. That is what legally allows you to intercept that package. So when you boil it all down, the real difference between these two rights is just one simple thing. Where are the goods? The right of lien is for stuff that's still in your possession. The right of stoppage is for stuff that's already on a truck or a ship with a carrier. It's all about the product's physical location. Okay, so let's imagine it worked. You've pulled it off, you either used your right of lien and kept the goods, or you successfully stopped the delivery mid-transit. The bottom line is, you have the product back. Well, the original buyer clearly isn't coming through with the payment. So what do you do now? You can't just hang on to the goods forever. How do you actually recover your money? And that brings us to the third tool in this strategy, the right of resale. It's exactly what it sounds like. The law actually gives you the right to sell those exact same goods to a completely different buyer to cut your losses and make yourself whole again. Now, just like before, there are a few rules here. You can resell immediately if the goods are perishable, think fresh food or flowers. You can also resell if you were smart enough to put a clause in your original contract that gives you this right. If neither of those apply, don't worry, you can still resell, but you have to notify the original buyer first, giving them one last chance to pay up. All right, let's shift gears and talk about our second strategy. Because sometimes just controlling the goods isn't enough, or maybe it's not even possible. In those cases, your toolkit lets you go after the buyer directly. And this is really important to understand. This is not an either-or choice. You can use these rights in addition to your rights over the goods. This part of the toolkit is all about using the legal system to directly force the buyer to pay what they owe you. So you've got four main legal moves here. The most straightforward one is a suit for price. You're simply suing for the cash you're owed. Then there's a suit for damages.
This is for when the buyer just flat out refuses to accept the goods, causing you a financial loss. If they try to back out of the deal before you even ship, that's called a suit for repudiation. And finally, and don't forget this one, you can file a suit for interest because, hey, the delay in getting your money actually cost you something.
Okay, so let's bring all of this together. Let's zoom out and look at the complete, powerful toolkit you now have at your disposal.
So here it is, your entire game plan. On one side, you've got actions against the goods themselves, your lien, your stoppage, and your resale. And on the other side, you have direct legal action against the buyer, suing for the price, for damages, or for interest. Understanding that you can fight on both of these fronts at the same time, well, that's what gives you some real power.
And it all comes back to this one simple definition. This legal status, unpaid seller, is the master key that unlocks every single tool we've just talked about. Knowing when you qualify and how to claim that status is absolutely the most important first step you can take. You know, the real takeaway here isn't just to react when something goes wrong, it's to be proactive. Knowing these rights is one thing, but preparing for them is another. For example, making sure your sales contracts include a resale clause. That's a powerful first move. So the question isn't just what you'll do when a buyer doesn't pay, it's what are you going to do today to make sure you're always in control?